Well, let's get more reaction now on what he's been saying. We can talk to the acting leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey. Thanks very much for being with us. He says it's a new deal in the style of FDR in the United States that ended the Great Depression of the 30s. Do you see it like that?
If only. This is a pinprick. This is a no deal. Liberal Democrats want a very ambitious deal, £150 billion over 3 years, so we can invest in green jobs, in green transport, in greening homes, in renewable power, in environmental projects across the country. That's the ambition that we need. We keep hearing about all the job losses that are going on, all the business collapsing. If we need to turn that around to get a recovery, we need a massive stimulus. And I'm afraid Boris Johnson's stimulus is more like a tiny pinprick. It will have no impact, and we need the sort of ambitious Liberal Democrat plans for a green economic recovery.
Well, it's easy to pick numbers out of the sky, isn't it, when you're in opposition and say 150 billion over 3 years. How would you pay for that?
We need to borrow. Borrowing costs are historic lows. We really need to build our way out of this with much bigger amounts. This is what's happened in the past after the Second World War, when we had a massive increase in debt and the economy was in a mess. We managed to build and invest, and we're facing the climate emergency, which is a difficult enough challenge even before the COVID recession. So what Liberal Democrats are saying, let's tackle the climate emergency along with the recession by finding a really imaginative way so we can get those jobs. And our programme involves a green jobs guarantee with a national living wage, with training so people can get employment, can get skills. And those jobs would be in lots of local areas. If you insulate people's homes, you can tackle fuel poverty and create local jobs. If you really go for a renewable expansion, as I did when I was in charge of climate change policy, you can create green jobs across our country. It's that level of ambition we need, not this rather pathetic plan from the Prime Minister.
Can I ask you about the lockdown in Leicester? Do you support that?
Well, I think it has to happen. Look at the data. Look at how the virus is taking off there. But it's awful for the people of Leicester, for carers, for health workers, for people who were hoping to go back to work to restart their business, for the self-employed. And what my concern is that the government has been talking about local lockdowns for quite a while, but it's clearly done no planning. Where's the help for those people whose businesses now can't reopen? Where's the decisions about how people can travel between Leicester and nearby towns and villages for work and moving in and out? There's no real thought through plan here. I think the government have let down the people of Leicester, and not in taking the decision, but in failing to plan for this.
And how is it going to be policed? We're seeing on our screen now that the red line around Leicester, which is supposed to be, you know, where you're prohibited from going to the shops or the pub, and the schools are going to be closed. But how is that going to be policed? How are the authorities going to stop people going across that red line effectively?
Well, you're making my point for me. The government, one would have thought, given it been talking about local lockdowns, would have got plans for all this in place, but it clearly hasn't. I think the local council in Leicester and the local people can rightly say, what has Boris Johnson been doing? He seems asleep at the wheel. He talks all the talk, but he's not putting the plans and the strategy into place. That's not acceptable. These are people's lives we're talking about. They will be crestfallen that they can't unlock with the rest of the country, that their businesses are going to fall. What has Boris Johnson been doing? This government goes from shambles to shambles. It really, really needs to get its act together.
Ed Davey, acting leader of the Liberal Democrats, thanks for being with us here on BBC News.